Hello, welcome back, lovely to see you. Look what I've got. You might look at that and say, is that a Panasonic BGH1? I mean, it looks the same. It's a very similar chassis. It's a very similar size. It's a very similar shape. But no. We've gone big. It's a proper, huge sensor. In fact, it's a sensor from the S1H, a full-frame sensor that you know and love. Put, miniaturized, if you will, into the same body as the BGH1. And when I say the same, I mean really the same. I'll do a little turn so you can see here, it really is literally the same. But there are a few important additions and changes. Obviously, points on the top to bolt cages to, and the side, and this side. And I'm happy to report that the small rig cage that possibly you bought for your BGH1 does actually fit this BS1H. So that's good news. Saves you some money there, saves you some pennies. So it's the same body with a much bigger sensor. Let's have a look at that sensor. Let's marvel really at what we've got there. Let's turn it so you can see that. I mean, that's a big old sensor in the same tiny body. They have added some extra function buttons around here. So not so many on the BGH1. So you can do some hotkeys and you can do some presets, which is nice because let's face it, there's not a lot of real estate left on this thing. And most importantly, they have added a lock button there, which means you can have your camera set up and then lock it probably, except for record, and Bob's your uncle, when you push these buttons by accident, when you hold it, you don't set them off. So that's another good addition. You have lost stabilization. You obviously don't have an EVF and you don't have a screen. So this is a camera that is designed, possibly, one could argue, for fixed position, you know, POVs, preset cameras, events, music. You want something with better low light, more depth of field, with a larger sensor. This is your solution. And I believe with the Panasonic Lumix Tether software, you can have up to 12 cameras. Okay, 12 of these bad boys, should you require them, all linked up, all with the same settings and all recording. And in fact, it kind of makes sense also when you see it with a tiny lens. I mean, these are their new lenses, their new small lenses, 1.8, 24-50 and 85, I believe. They kind of make sense with a camera this size. They're not too big, they're much more affordable. So you could see how that would work. Now go back into this. So car door, exactly the same on the side. We've got our remote, which is great because then you can put a cage on and you can put your handle here and it'll work. So you've got your start stop out here or somewhere else or wherever you want it on your rig. You've got your go back button and your fire button, your record button. You've got your function one, your quick menu and your playback there. And then obviously you can preset these buttons as well as you like. On the back, we've got power options or different kind of power options. We've got, let's move it that way so you can see it. We've got Panasonic battery that we know, video battery. Hawkwoods do an MPF adapter battery plate that pops on there, and so you can put Sony batteries on there, and that has a D-tap as well, which is very useful because you are going to need to power other things if you want to use this in a traditional camera sense, like monitors and EVFs. And in fact, Wooden Camera do a very nice kit for the BGH1, which is like a cage, top plate and a V-lock that all attaches. So that would be another option for the more serious minded with you. Now, why, you say, would I buy this instead of the S1H? Well, imagine all of the codecs, all of the frame rates, all of the color, all of the anamorphic goodness of the S1H, but put into a form factor that allowed you to decide how to rig it. One of the frustrations, if you like, with designing a hybrid camera is that it's a hybrid. It's designed to do two things. This is designed to only do one thing, and that is video, and that's why it has proper ports on the back. We have SDI, we have Genlock, and we have time codes, all the good things that we need. There is an HDMI port as well at the bottom, should you want that port as well, you've got that. The SDI, I must mention, only does 1080, it's 3G out of that, 4K out of the HDMI, and of course there will be ProRes RAW and B-RAW with the various recorders if you want to. So ergonomically, this is a very different kind of camera, and it allows you to do different things that you can't do with an S1H. You haven't got a viewfinder there, you'll be putting your viewfinder here. You'll be putting this in a cage immediately, and either you'll be bolting it in hard to reach positions and powering it, say, by Ethernet, which you can do with this, and laying them all out and controlling them remotely, or you'll be doing a sort of kind of mini cinema camera build where you put it in a cage, top handle, power solution, EVF, and then you mount on whatever you want. I get excited about this because I think about the anamorphic options. The S1H is a really good anamorphic sensor, and as is this. You have the 3.2, you have the 4K anamorphic, you have the D-squeeze that can come out of the ports so you can see it correctly. This has all of that, but it has actually an easier way of rigging it. I mean, I put it on a much more expensive lens, 10 times more expensive, just for fun, and it works. You can set it up, you can have your lens, you can build it up for mini cinema, and of course it weighs nothing, so your anamorphic build actually drops in weight quite considerably. You haven't got this enormous camera on the back. The lens is by far the heaviest thing, so that's quite exciting. You can even mod the cheaper serial lenses, the 1.3s with an L mount now at MTF Services. You could fit them on here. That would be seriously cool, because then I've got a really tiny little mini anamorphic thing to play with. So this is a camera designed to fill a particular niche, but I think is open to other interpretations of use. I mean, nice control thing on the top as before. The XLR adapter will of course fit on top. We've got the usual hot shoe powering business that will allow that to go on top. So if you want to use audio with proper ports, you have to have one of those, but that's dead easy. They are very affordable, and that just slots it in there. To sum up then, this is the S1H sensor with all of that lovely goodness that you enjoy in a body half the size and weight. Yes, literally half the weight. It weighs nothing. So it could go in a car, it could go against a windscreen, it can go in a corridor, it can literally go anywhere. It can go on a drone very easily. It weighs nothing. We can power it in different ways. It has the autofocus from the S1H, the same kind of autofocus. We know with this mount that we can adapt it. We can put anything we like on it. It all fit because it's a lovely mirrorless mount. And now there is quite a broad range of many different manufacturers that do lenses and adapters for this mount. This mount now has a lot of options for glass. But I think that would be selling it short to just say it's a camera for drones and remote productions. I think you could build it up into a very cute little cinema rig with your anamorphic lens of choice. So there you go. Very exciting. Something to celebrate Panasonic's 20th anniversary of Lumix, and a lot to look forward to.